My fiancé insisted on a prenup, saying in anything you earn above me is mine too. I signed it on the spot. 2 years later, my startup sold for $12 million. When she tried claiming half, I showed her the revision. Her attorney added, her reaction. When she saw she'd only qualify for $0. I, 32, male, just watched my wife's face drain of color as her attorney explained she'd get exactly $0 from my $12 million startup sale. The prenup she demanded, the one she was so proud of negotiating, the one that was supposed to secure her financial future, had just locked her out completely. And the best part, her own lawyer added the clause that destroyed her. 2 years ago, Vanessa, 29, and I were 6 months away from our wedding. I was running a software startup, grinding 80-hour weeks, eating ramen, pouring every dollar back into the company. She worked in marketing at a mid-sized agency, making $65,000 a year. Comfortable, but not wealthy. I was making $48,000 on paper, paying myself just enough to survive while the company grew. One night over dinner, she dropped it casually. I think we should get a prenup. I looked up from my laptop, surprised but not opposed. Okay, what are you thinking? Well, she said, twirling her wine glass, I've been reading about income disparity in marriages. It's not fair when one person out-earns the other significantly. I need protection. Protection from what? From you making way more than me and leaving me with nothing. But you make more than me right now? She laughed. For now, but your little tech thing might actually work out. And when it does, I want to make sure we're equal partners. She slid a folder across the table. Inside was a draft prenup. The key clause, highlighted in yellow, stated that any income earned above the lower earning spouse's salary would be split equally as marital property. Essentially, if I made $100,000 and she made $65,000, the $35,000 difference would be ours, not mine. It gets better after marriage, she said. Any income above what I earn becomes community property. 50-50. That's fair, right? I read it 3 times. You want half of everything I earn above your salary? It's about equality, she said. Partnership. If you're making way more, it's because I'm supporting you at home, managing our life, being your partner. I deserve to share in that success. I thought about the 80-hour weeks, the years of risk, the ramen dinners and skip vacations to fund the startup. Then I thought about how she'd been pushing me to get a stable job, calling my startup a hobby, suggesting I was wasting my potential. Okay, I said, I'll sign it. She blinked. Really? Yeah, let's do it. She smiled, relief flooding her face. I knew you'd be reasonable. I love you. Love you too. I sent the prenup to my attorney, Marcus. Smart guy, Stanford Law, handled startup contracts for me before. His email back was 3 words followed by 6 exclamation marks. Call me now. Marcus was livid. Are you insane? This prenup makes her your business partner without any of the risk. Have you read Clause 7? I had not read Clause 7 closely. He explained it. The way this is written, she could claim half of any equity compensation, bonuses, profit sharing, anything classified as income above her base salary. If your company goes public or gets acquired, she's positioned to take millions. But I'm only making $48,000 right now. For now, Marcus said. But what happens when you cash out? When you sell? When all that equity converts to actual money? I was quiet. He continued. I can't stop you from signing this disaster, but let me try to add some language. Protections? Loopholes? Her attorney will probably reject them, but we have to try. Go for it. Marcus went to work. 3 weeks of back and forth between attorneys. Vanessa was frustrated with the delays. Why is this taking so long? It's a simple agreement, just standard legal review. Your lawyer wants to make sure you're protected, I said, which was technically true. Finally, the revised prenup came back. Marcus called me immediately. Her attorney added everything I suggested. Everything. I don't know if he didn't read my revisions carefully or if he's incompetent, but he added the exact language I needed. Specifically, the income sharing clause now explicitly defines income as earned salary, wages, and regular compensation. It specifically excludes capital gains, investment returns, business equity sales, stock options, and asset liquidation. Marcus, you're a genius. I'm a cautious genius. This might still blow up in your face, but at least you won't be financing her retirement with your company sale. Vanessa and I signed the prenup a week before the wedding. She was thrilled, kept saying how progressive we were, how modern, how this protected both of us. I agreed with everything. Our wedding was beautiful. I won't lie, standing at that altar, I had doubts. Was I marrying someone who saw me as a paycheck? But she looked stunning, and I loved her, and I convinced myself I was being paranoid. The first year of marriage was fine, good even. My startup was growing. We raised a Series A round. I started paying myself $85,000. According to the prenup, the $20,000 above her salary was split equally. She got an extra $10,000 that year, which she spent on a trip to Bali with her girlfriends. I said nothing. Year 2, things accelerated. We closed a huge contract with a Fortune 500 company. My salary jumped to $120,000. She quit her job to be an influencer, started a lifestyle blog, made maybe $15,000 that first year. According to the prenup, the $105,000 difference meant she was entitled to $52,500. I paid it quarterly. She bought a new Mercedes, designer handbags, renovated our guest bathroom. Still, I said nothing. Then came the offer. October 15th, a Tuesday. I was in back-to-back meetings when my co-founder texted, "Tech giant wants to buy us, 12 million." Cut after investors and co-founders split $6.8 million. I sat in my car in the parking lot for 30 minutes, just breathing. 7 years of work, of risk, of ramen and stress and doubt had just converted into generational wealth. I called Marcus before I called Vanessa. "Congratulations," he said, his voice careful. "Thank you. Now what?" "Now we handle this correctly. That's $6.8 million is from equity sale, not salary. Per the prenup revision, it's classified as asset liquidation. She gets nothing." "Are you sure?" "I've read this document 50 times in the last 24 hours. I'm sure. Her attorney screwed up catastrophically, but she'll fight it. Of course she will. That's why you need to be ready." I drove home. Vanessa was in the kitchen filming content for her blog, something about organizing spice racks. I waited until she finished. "We need to talk." She set down her phone, immediately alert. Something had shifted in her expression. "Is it the company? We got an acquisition offer." Her face lit up. "Oh my God, how much? My share is $6.8 million. She screamed. Actually screamed. Jumped up and down, knocked over a jar of paprika. "We're rich. We're millionaires. This is amazing. I need to call my mom." "Wait, Vanessa," she froze at my tone. "We need to talk about the prenup." "What about it?" "The income sharing clause." "Right," she said slowly. "So I get half of the amount above my salary? So that's like, what, 3 million? She already had a calculator out. "No," her smile faltered. "No? The acquisition sale isn't classified as income under the prenup terms. It's an asset liquidation." "What does that mean?" "It means the income sharing clause doesn't apply to this money." Her face changed. Went hard. "You're joking. I wish I was." I pulled out my phone, opened the prenup PDF, scrolled to the revision. Section 4.2, subsection C. Income is defined as earned salary, wages, and regular compensation. Specifically excluded: capital gains, investment returns, business equity sales. She grabbed my phone, read it 3 times. Her hands started shaking. "This can't be right. My lawyer wouldn't have agreed to this." "Your lawyer added this revision, Vanessa. He negotiated this specific language. We have the email chain." She called her attorney right there, put him on speaker. "Charles, I'm reading the prenup. Section 4.2. Did you add this exclusion about equity sales?" Long pause. "Yes," his voice was tight. "That's standard protective language for entrepreneurs. It ensures business assets built before or during marriage can't be." "You told me this prenup would protect me." "It does protect you within the bounds of salary income. But a startup sale isn't salary income. So I get nothing?" Another pause. "Based on this language, correct." She threw her phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. Update 1. The screaming lasted 3 hours. Vanessa went through every stage of grief at hyperspeed. Denial: "This has to be wrong. We'll find another lawyer." Anger: "You set me up. You planned this. You manipulated me. Bargaining, I supported you. I believed in you. You owe me this. Depression, I gave up my career for you. I have nothing now. More anger, I want a divorce. You're a monster. I hope you choke on that money. I sat on the couch, calm, quiet, letting her cycle through it. Around midnight, she collapsed on the floor, exhausted. You knew, she whispered. You knew this whole time. I knew the prenup existed. You read the revisions. I read what my attorney advised me to understand. You tricked me. I signed what you demanded, every word of it. She looked up at me with pure hatred. I will destroy you in court. You're welcome to try. We have clear documentation. You demanded this prenup. Your attorney negotiated every clause. You signed it voluntarily. There's no fraud, no coercion, just consequences. She moved into the guest room that night. The next morning, I found her on the phone with a divorce attorney, loud enough for me to hear. Yes, he's hiding assets, she said. There has to be a way to break this prenup. It's unconscionable. The attorney's voice was patient through the speaker. Mrs. Patterson, unconscionable typically requires proving gross unfairness at the time of signing. You were employed, represented by counsel. The terms were clear. This will be difficult. Find a way, she snapped. I called Marcus. She's lawyering up. Expected. Here's what happens next. She'll claim duress, fraud, maybe argue you hid the startup's potential value. We have emails where you told her the company might fail. We have her texts telling you to get a real job. We have documentation of every salary payment above her income. The paper trail is perfect. What about community property? Doesn't California law? The prenup specifically addresses California community property law. We were thorough. This will hold. 3 days later, formal divorce papers arrived. She was demanding spousal support of $15,000 per month, claiming she sacrificed her career to support mine, plus 50% of the acquisition proceeds under breach of fiduciary duty. Marcus laughed when he read it. Her attorney is desperate. This is a Hail Mary. Then Vanessa's family got involved. Her mother called me, a woman I'd always gotten along with, who'd hugged me at our wedding, who'd sent me birthday cards. How could you do this to her? Linda, I signed the prenup, she demanded, with a clause you knew would screw her, a clause her attorney added and approved. She gave up her career for you. She quit her $65,000 job to be an influencer because she wanted to. I never asked her to quit. You owe her half of that money. Legally and morally, I don't. The law is clear. What about love? What about it? If you loved her, you'd share. If she loved me, she wouldn't have demanded a prenup designed to take half my income. She hung up. Her father tried next. Different approach. Calm, businessman to businessman. Look, son, I get it. You're protecting your interests. But Vanessa's my daughter. This is destroying her. She'll be fine. She's 29, educated, capable. She can rebuild. With nothing? She has everything she came into the marriage with, and 2 years of income sharing that gave her over $60,000 she didn't earn. That's more than nothing. He sighed. You're not wrong, but you're not right either. What's right is honoring legal agreements. That's what adults do. You've changed, he said. Money's changed you. No, I said quietly. Clarity changed me. I thought about all the times she'd called my startup a waste, suggested I was gambling our future, complained about my hours, my stress, my dedication. Now that the gamble paid off, she wanted half the winnings without any of the risk. That's not how partnerships work. Update 2. Vanessa's social media campaign started exactly as Marcus predicted. Long posts about financial abuse, about men who trap women in marriages, about the importance of protecting yourself because you never know who you're really married to. She positioned herself as a victim of manipulation. The comments were split. Half supported her, called me a monster, half asked pointed questions. Wait, didn't you demand the prenup? If he's so terrible, why did you marry him? Sounds like you wanted his money and now you're mad he protected it. Then her influencer friends piled on. One posted a 10-minute video titled Why Prenups Are Tools of the Patriarchy. Another shared a tearful story about her friend, obviously Vanessa, being financially abused by her tech bro husband. Another organized a hashtag campaign. But the internet is undefeated. Someone found Vanessa's old blog posts from before we married. Posts about how she was dating a startup founder, how she was playing the long game, how you have to be smart about these things. Posts about calculating net worth and future potential. Posts that made her look exactly like what she was, a gold digger who'd been outmaneuvered. The post went viral, screenshots everywhere. Her narrative collapsed in real time. She deleted her entire social media presence within 24 hours, but the screenshots live forever. Her attorney filed a motion for emergency spousal support. The argument was that she'd become accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and I had a duty to maintain it. Marcus filed a response with every receipt showing she'd spent the income-sharing money on luxury goods, travel, and personal expenses, while I'd reinvested in the company. The judge denied her motion, but Vanessa wasn't done. She tried to claim the startup was marital property because I'd worked on it during our marriage. Marcus had anticipated this too. We provided documentation showing the company was founded 3 years before we met. All equity was awarded before our engagement, and the acquisition was based on pre-marriage contracts and intellectual property. Strike two. Then she claimed I'd verbally promised to share the sale proceeds, regardless of the prenup. Said I'd told her we were partners in everything. Wanted to invoke some clause about oral modifications to written contracts. This one was trickier. It came down to credibility. But we had texts. Her text to me, "Can't wait till your company sells and we can finally live the life we deserve. When you're rich, I'm getting the biggest diamond upgrade. Your money is our money, right? That's what marriage means." My responses were always variations of, "Let's see if it happens first. Got to focus on growing the company. We have the prenup, remember?" The text made it clear I'd never promised anything beyond what the legal documents stated. Her attorney withdrew the claim. 6 months into the divorce proceedings, Vanessa's money ran out. Turns out the Mercedes, the handbags, the bathroom renovation, she'd financed a lot of it on credit. Credit she couldn't pay back now. She had to move in with her parents, had to sell the Mercedes, had to return to a regular job, administrative assistant at a dental office. Meanwhile, I moved into a penthouse downtown, started angel investing in other startups, dated casually. I wasn't celebrating her downfall, but I wasn't losing sleep over it either. Her attorney reached out to Marcus for a settlement discussion. "We're prepared to accept $500,000 as a full and final settlement," he said. "No, our counter is $0. She walks away with what she brought, which is nothing. That's unreasonable. That's the prenup she demanded." We went to trial. The courtroom was small, depressing. Vanessa looked worn down, older somehow. Her attorney made an impassioned argument about fairness, about the spirit of marriage, about how the prenup's technical loopholes violated the intent of the agreement. Our turn. Marcus was surgical. He walked through every email, every text, every blog post. He showed how Vanessa had specifically demanded a prenup to protect her financial interests. He demonstrated that her attorney had reviewed and approved every revision. He proved she'd been informed of every clause and had signed voluntarily with full knowledge. Then he played his ace. He brought up Section 4.2, subsection C, the exclusion clause. He showed the email chain where Vanessa's attorney had not only approved it, but had specifically written, added protective language for entrepreneurial income per standard practice. Client has reviewed and approved. Client has reviewed and approved. Her attorney had documented that she'd seen and accepted this exact language. The judge read the prenup, read the emails, looked at Vanessa. "Ma'am, did you read this document before signing?" "Yes," she whispered. "Did your attorney explain these exclusions to you?" "He said it was standard protective language." "For whom?" "For," she paused, "for both of us." "Did you ask what it meant?" "No, I trusted him," the judge sighed. "I understand this outcome is disappointing, but I cannot void a contract simply because one party regrets their negotiating position. The prenup is clear, it was properly executed, both parties were represented. The exclusion clause is explicit. I'm granting the divorce but upholding the prenuptial agreement. No spousal support, no asset division beyond what was established during marriage. We're done here." Update 3. Vanessa tried one last desperate move. She filed a complaint with the state bar against her attorney, claiming malpractice. Her argument was that Charles had failed to explain the full implications of the exclusion clause, costing her millions. The bar investigated. Turned out Charles had sent her a detailed memo explaining every clause, including Section 4.2. He'd specifically warned that the exclusion language could impact future asset sales and recommended against signing without understanding the full scope. She'd replied via email, "I understand, let's proceed." The bar dismissed her complaint. Charles then sued her for defamation and legal fees. She settled quietly, though I don't know the terms. Her parents had to help her financially. The woman who'd once posted about luxury vacations and designer bags was now posting about budget meal prep and thrift store finds, rebranding herself as relatable, authentic, real. The comments were brutal. "Interesting how you're relatable now that the money's gone. Authenticity is just poverty with the Instagram filter. Remember when you married for money and lost?" She eventually deleted everything and went private. I heard through mutual friends that she was dating someone new, an accountant named Gerald, made $70,000 a year, drove a Camry, lived in a modest apartment, everything she used to mock me for before my success. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. But here's the thing that stuck with me. About a year after the divorce was finalized, I ran into Charles, her attorney, at a legal conference. We ended up at the same bar. He approached me, drink in hand. "Can I buy you a drink? I already have one. I owe you an apology." For what? For taking her case. For letting her proceed with that prenup demand. I was confused. "You protected her?" He laughed bitterly. "I tried to protect her from herself. I told her the exclusion clause was problematic. I explained multiple times that entrepreneurial income and equity sales were different from salary. I warned her. She didn't care. She was so focused on getting half of any salary increases that she ignored the bigger picture. Why did you let her sign? Because she was my client and she insisted. She kept saying she knew what she was doing, that she was being smart. And honestly," he paused, "I was tired of arguing. She paid me to execute a contract, not to save her from her own greed. That's cold. That's law." We drank in silence for a minute. "You knew," he said. "When you sent those revisions through your attorney, you knew exactly what you were doing. I knew I was protecting 7 years of work. I knew I was ensuring that if my company succeeded, it would be because of my risk, not her paperwork. Tactical. The best part? He leaned in. She tried to sue me for malpractice, claiming I didn't explain the implications. I had to produce the memo. 12 pages, single-spaced, explaining every possible scenario, including a major liquidity event like an acquisition. She'd written back, "I understand. Let's proceed." 3 words that cost her millions. We finished our drinks. As he was leaving, he turned back. "You're going to be fine. You're already fine. What about her? She'll survive. People like her always land on their feet. They just land in different tax brackets." I went home that night to my penthouse, stood on the balcony overlooking the city, and thought about the whole thing. The prenup, the marriage, the divorce. Was I wrong? Legally, no. Morally, that's harder. Vanessa had demanded protection from me, out-earning her. She got exactly what she asked for, a system where salary differences were shared. She just never imagined I'd have income that wasn't salary. She'd been so focused on the immediate win, the monthly income-sharing checks, that she'd ignored the long-term implications. Her attorney tried to warn her. I'd tried to slow down the prenup process, but she'd been adamant, confident, certain she was securing her future. Final update. It's been 3 years since the acquisition, 2 years since the divorce. I'm 35 now. I've invested the money wisely, started 2 new companies, got involved in venture capital. My net worth is substantially higher than the original $6.8 million. I'm dating someone new. Sarah's a pediatrician, makes $280,000 a year. When we started getting serious, I told her the whole story. Expected judgment, maybe concern. She laughed. So you married someone who saw you as a retirement plan, and you managed to protect yourself with her own paperwork. That's impressive. We're not engaged yet, but we've talked about marriage. She brought up a prenup without me asking. I think we should keep our finances mostly separate, she said. I've worked too hard to build my practice to risk it in a divorce. Not that I'm planning one, but smart. Agreed. We drafted something simple. What's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. What we build together, we split fairly. No games, no income sharing schemes, no complicated clauses. Just two adults protecting what they'd built independently while committing to building something together. It's refreshing as hell. As for Vanessa, I heard she got married last year. Gerald, the accountant, proposed at a chain restaurant. She said yes. They bought a house in the suburbs, a 3-bedroom starter home. She's pregnant with their first kid. Her Instagram is back, private, but mutual friends show me the occasional post. She seems happy, different, quieter, less flashy, but happy. Part of me feels guilty, not for protecting my assets, that was necessary, but for the fact that my success came at the cost of her plan. Then I remember the texts, the blog posts, the calculations. I remember her calling my startup a waste of time, telling me to get a real job, suggesting I was irresponsible for taking risks. I remember how she only saw value in the work once it converted to dollars, and the guilt fades. She didn't want a partner. She wanted a paycheck with a personality. And when the paycheck came, she learned the difference between love and leverage. Marcus sent me a message a few months ago. Saw Vanessa's new husband hired a lawyer. They're doing a prenup before the baby comes. Apparently, he's protecting his pension and 401k. Irony's beautiful, isn't it? It really is. The lesson here isn't about prenups or money or startup sales. It's simpler than that. When someone shows you they value your wallet more than your character, believe them. When someone demands protection from your success, question why they're assuming you'll succeed and they'll deserve credit. When someone's love is conditional on your earning potential, walk away, or at least protect yourself in writing. That prenup Vanessa demanded, best investment I ever made. Not because it saved me $6.8 million, though that's nice, but because it revealed exactly who I'd married before kids, joint mortgages, and decades of entanglement. She wanted a shortcut to wealth. Instead, she got a masterclass in contract law. Some people marry for love. Some marry for money. Vanessa married for money and ended up with neither. I married for love and learned to protect both. 3 years later, I'm not angry anymore. I'm just grateful. Grateful to Marcus for his paranoia and precision. Grateful to Charles for documenting everything. Grateful to Vanessa for insisting on the one document that would eventually free me. And grateful to 29-year-old me, stressed and scared and swimming in ramen debt, who read that first prenup draft and thought, something's wrong here. Let's fix it. That instinct saved my life. To anyone reading this who's facing similar pressure, similar demands, similar red flags, trust your gut. Hire a good attorney. Read every word. And remember that love doesn't come with invoices, payment plans, or income sharing clauses. The right person wants to build wealth with you, not extract it from you. Vanessa taught me that the expensive way. But hey, some lessons are priceless, even when they cost you a marriage. P.S. The $12 million startup. I sold it because the acquiring company offered absurd money for tech they couldn't build themselves. But the patents, the core IP, the real innovation, I kept it. Started a new company with that tech 6 months after the acquisition closed. Current valuation, $40 million. Still not salary, still protected, still mine. Vanessa, if you're reading this, congratulations on the baby. I mean that sincerely. But also, thanks for the prenup. Best worst decision you ever made.